Welcome head coach Hubert Davis of the North Carolina Tar Heels. No opening statement today. We'll just go straight to questions. Back right.
Hey, Hubert, you've had a limited rotation all season long. It's kind of something that you've adjusted to early on. Baylor has had more of a limited rotation down the stretch due to injuries. Do you think that's maybe a facet of tomorrow's game you might be able to take advantage of, them kind of adjusting to that?
Well, I mean, Baylor is such a good basketball team. They're outstanding defensively for two reasons. One, team defense-wise, their togetherness on the defensive end is really good, and then they also have good individual defenders. Offensively, they've got a number of guys, dynamic scorers that can create shots for themselves and for their teammates in a one-on-one situation. And so, our rotation has been limited pretty much for the majority of the season. But I really felt like Dontrez and Puff came in yesterday, and they gave us some valuable minutes off the bench. And so whether you play 1 minute or 30 minutes, you can do something out there on the floor that can be a huge benefit for our team. And I feel like guys off the bench, whether they do get 1 or 30 minutes, they've always come in and been able to make an impact. And my hope is that they will make an impact tomorrow against Baylor.
On the left, second row.
Hey, Hubert, have you gotten a chance to kind of wrap your mind around the things that happened last night? This is obviously a historic program, and a lot of program records were broken. So have you gotten a chance to kind of think about what you guys were able to accomplish on that front?
Not really. I haven't had much time to think about anything over the last 11 and a half months. But I was very happy and very proud of the guys. Armando, he's been here 3 years, and that was his first NCAA tournament win. RJ and Caleb and Kerwin are sophomores, and last year we lost to Wisconsin in the first round. So just to see their smiles, to see their reactions of putting North Carolina to the next round, that was something that was a great joy to me. And so that's the only thing from last night's game that I thought about I was just really happy for the guys, and just to see their smiles and how much they enjoyed the moment was something that put a smile on my face.
Right-hand side in the middle.
Hey, Hubert, I remember before the season we'd ask you about, what your plans were for the job, and you kind of be like, look, I played, I've coached, I was in the media, I think it's going to be okay. But, first NCAA tournament win, even given all that, how much validation or just knowing that things are working did you feel after last night?
I don't feel that way at all. As I said before, I look at this job as missionary work. I've been given an opportunity to be the head coach of this program and be a part of this program for the last 10 years, and having a chance to play here. And every day I get a front row seat to be able to help out these kids, and it puts me in a place of humbleness and thankfulness and appreciation to be a part of their lives. And I don't feel any personal validation at all. This is 100% absolutely nothing about me. Excuse me. This is 100% giving back to each one of those players everything that Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge gave to me while I was at North Carolina, and everything that Coach Williams gave to all the players the last 18 years that he was head coach. It has nothing personal about me.
Front one on the left, Kevin.
Hubert, both teams like to value the transition game so much as part of their offense. And so I asked Scott about this, but from your perspective, what's going to be key for you guys to maybe try and limit what Baylor can do when it gets into transition, since that's part of what both teams' DNA?
Well, there's a number of factors that can keep a team out of transition. Number one is we got to take care of the basketball. Baylor does a great job of creating turnovers, and earlier in the year, that was an area where we really struggled. And excuse me. And teams were being able to score consistently in transition because we weren't taking care of the basketball. I think another factor is taking good shots. I think when you take bad shots, to me, bad shots are the same as turnovers. And so it's important for us to get quality shots. And then the last thing is it's important for us to make shots. You know, you start making shots, now they have to take the ball out of bounds and they're coming up against a set defense. So taking care of the basketball, making shots, taking good shots, and also attacking the basket through post or penetration so that we can get fouled and get to the free throw line. Statistically in ACC, we're the best free throw shooting team in our conference, and so that's a big part of us from an offensive standpoint, but it's also a huge part for us defensively to make sure teams are playing against our set defense.
Second row on the right.
Coach, with Baylor losing Jonathan Tchamwa-Tchatchoua and what he does inside and on the boards and what Armando's able to do rebounding-wise, how have you seen, at least on tape, how Baylor has kind of adapted to having that one less big guy on the rebounding side?
Well, Baylor is the defending national champions and the #1 seed because they have more than one guy. They're an outstanding team, and one of the areas that they are terrific at is rebounding the basketball on both ends of the floor. It's something that we have talked about, yesterday, today, in terms of trying to limit Baylor to one shot every possession, because we know that a huge part of their offense is getting second chance opportunities. For the same thing for us, one of the things that a foundation piece for our program is getting second chance opportunities. So I always say, let's get shots, let's get good shots. But if we get good shots, we're either going to make them, and if we miss, because of our pursuit for the offensive glass, we're going to get second chance opportunities. So it's a great matchup of two teams that talented teams that like to get out in transition, that like to get second chance opportunities, that get after it on the defensive end. And so it'll be a challenge for us, but we're really excited about the opportunity tomorrow morning.
On the left front row.
Coach, what kind of presence has Armando been for you guys, and just how has he opened up things for everybody else?
Well, it's having somebody that's consistently able to. Somebody thinks I need. Is this Sprite, water? Sprite. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Clint. Armando's just, everybody wants somebody that number one, can rebound the basketball consistently, and number two, can consistently score around the basket, and that's what he's been for us. I mean, the numbers that he has put up has been historic, whether it's in our program or just in Division I. I mean, his ability to rebound on both ends, stay out of foul trouble, be able to score consistently around the basket, and he's also a rim protector. So many times guards are trying to penetrate, get to the rim, and if he doesn't block it, he'll alter those shots. And so I'm really so proud of Armando, the work that that's the thing that you guys don't get an opportunity to see, is to see all the hard work that these kids put in the off season, the things that they do before and after practice, the things that they do before class, early mornings, late nights, and to see all that hard work come out in the way that he has played, it's really a pleasure to watch.
Right side, far.
Coach, this was a regional field with the three teams that have won more national championships than anybody, and then you have Kansas playing on the same floor with multiple titles, but Baylor is a defending champion. I just didn't know what you know about Scott Drew and what he's done at Baylor, and I mean, he's been there for a long time, but kind of developed it in the Big 12 and on this stage. What do you think of Scott, and what do you know about him?
Well, I got a chance to know Scott really when I was with ESPN. And spent so many times doing Big 12 games, and when I was on game day, we had one at Waco, and so was able to spend time with him there. Not only is he obviously an outstanding coach, just the way that he relates to people and to his players. They love playing for him. Obviously knows the game, but I think the foundation of what makes him such a great coach is his relationships with his players, and they play hard for him. And the success that he's had at Baylor is something that is not a surprise to me. he's somebody that any kid would want to play for. And I'm excited that we have an opportunity to play against him tomorrow.
On the left on the aisle.
Hubert, Leakey has talked about the level of confidence the team has now, even after the ACC tournament loss. In what tangible ways have you seen the confidence level rise, make you guys better in certain areas?
Success. I mean, I think we've won 13 out of the last 16 games, something like that, the last 7 out of the last 8. And, you know, all the things that we had talked about and the things that we had worked on all year, for that to come out being successful in games, whether it's late game situations, execution throughout the game, it's really put ourselves in a position to be very confident about what we're doing out there on the floor. I've said this a couple times that I said, you know, this is the healthiest that this team has been all season, the most together that this team has been all season. And I really think that togetherness and the health of this team is built on the confidence that we're building throughout the year. You know, this year was a year of newness. You know, this is the first year that I was, you know, head coach, and, you know, had Brady and so many new faces. It takes time to build those types of relationships. And throughout the year, I just have felt us becoming closer together. And I think that is a huge reason why us as a team feel really confident about who we are and what we need to do out there on the floor.
Far right side.
Hubert, your team is 18-0 and it has at least 15 assists. So coming off the performance you guys had yesterday with 29, how can you try to replicate it and keep those assist numbers high with such an athletic Baylor team tomorrow? Yeah,
you know, that's I really liked how we were sharing the basketball. One of the things that I always say is, you know, we want, from an offensive standpoint, we want spacing and balance, and we want a combination of player and ball movement, and that's what we had yesterday. And when we're sharing the basketball and we're allowing everybody to play a part on the offensive end, I think we're very difficult to play. We've got a number of guys that can shoot the basketball. We've got guys that can penetrate and get to the lane and finish. And it stretches teams out. And, you know, another stat that I even tell the team is that I think we're 14-0 when Caleb has 5 or more assists. So that's something that I remind him before every game, is that I love when you shoot the ball extremely well, but when you're making plays not just for yourself but for others, that takes us to a different level. And then RJ, I think you set a tie or a record for assists in the NCAA tournament. Not only 12 assists, but 1 turnover. It's just fantastic.
Left-hand side.
Coach, the guys have said a few times in the last month plus or so the value of what they learned the week of the Miami and Wake Forest games. And Leakey kind of reiterated here a few minutes ago the importance of how you approach them the next day, that being one of the turning points. Can there be something similar said about the Pitt loss at home, about something that was learned from that experience, maybe a reminder about awareness? Yeah,
I wasn't nice after the Pitt loss. Yeah. After we lost to Miami and Wake, it was like, guys, I love you. After the Pitt loss, I was like, guys, get over here.
Was there a similar amount of learning that they got from that, lesson they got from that, maybe a reminder about approaching things?
Maybe. You know, after we lost to Pitt, we watched tape the next day, and I put together 20 clips, and I showed them that 20 times from a defensive standpoint that we did something that wasn't drilled, wasn't coached, wasn't taught, and wasn't practiced. And I just told them, it confused me that we would try to do something in a game that we had not taught, hadn't talked about, hadn't practiced, and hadn't drilled. And then we went out and practiced, and we had probably our best practice of the season. And after practice, I said, why would you guys play this hard against each other and not play against an opponent? And they, for whatever reason, that seemed to resonate in them. And when we went up to Virginia Tech, we were more together than any time during the season. And we were up there to compete. And I really felt like that Pitt loss reminded us of the way that we felt on that bus ride coming back from Wake Forest, and that we didn't want to have that feeling again.
All the way in the back on the right.
Hubert, Baylor plays that aggressive no-middle defense. How challenging is that to get ready for in a day and a half? And is there any team you've played that you feel like has a similar defensive style?
Yeah, Marquette. They're very physical. Virginia Tech, very physical. Virginia, very physical. At Duke, very physical. And so, we've played athletic, talented, physical teams throughout the entire season. And obviously, Baylor is an unbelievable and awesome team. And it'll be a challenge for us tomorrow. But it's something that we're really excited about. It's something that we feel prepared for. And we're up for the challenge to be able to compete and see what we can do against Baylor tomorrow.
Staying on the right side, third row.
Hubert, Brady has a big game yesterday, obviously. What do you make from his story as a whole and the lessons that can be drawn from it?
Well, he had like 45, 50 family members here yesterday, and I was just really happy for him. His brother, Kellen, this was the first time that he got to see Brady play in person yesterday because he was going through his season. And so it's hard for me to talk about, to think about, and to put into perspective what Brady has meant to this team, to this program, and to me. For a kid that has never lived outside of the state of Oklahoma, for him in 5 days to commit to play for me, my first year as head coach, and to come to North Carolina, and for this relationship to fit as perfectly as it has on and off the court, I just don't think it happens like that all the time. It just doesn't. And I've said this 50,000 times. The only bad part about coaching Brady is that I only get to coach him this 1 year. I wish he would have a double COVID year or something that I could coach him again, because he's been fantastic. I love that dude to death.
Don't wish another COVID year upon us, Coach.
Well, not a COVID year. You know what I'm saying. Just no COVID year.
All right, let's stay on the right.
Okay.
Coach, staying with Brady, I know you as a staff will prepare the scout for them, but how much, if at all, do you guys rely on his on-court experience playing against Baylor the last several years?
Well, Baylor's, as great as they are, they're a different team than they were last year. We don't really lean on that type of experience from him in giving us insight into Baylor. I know that he's played them a number of times, and I know that he enjoyed his experience of playing in the Big 12, and to say that we're playing Baylor in the NCAA tournament is pretty cool. And so I'm really excited and happy for him. I know that he's had some battles with Baylor, and it'll be excited to see him play against a familiar opponent.
Time for two more on the left in the front row.
Coach, sticking with Brady one more. Coach Drew mentioned that he said, he can grow his beard out and try to hide, but we know who he is. Is there any magic in the beard? Have you encouraged it, or what's going on there?
I don't really care as long as he makes shots and continues to be the person that he is. It is long. He needs to get it cut. But I've seen pictures of him when when he is shaved and he looks 11. And so I think he grows the beard to seem like he's a little bit older, but his beard is long. But I do not mind, because the way that he plays and just the type of kid and the person he is, he's a joy to be around.
Okay, last one on the right.
That'd be interesting, because when I played at Carolina, I wonder what Coach Smith would do. You weren't allowed to have facial hair. So when I was in college, Like if you wanted to have a beard, you needed to go to Coach Smith and give him a note from a doctor that said you had a skin condition in order that you couldn't shave. So I wonder if Coach Smith would allow Brady to play. I would think he would. He would change that rule just a smidge for Brady to be out there.
Yeah, Coach. I wanted to actually ask you about Akinjo of Baylor. Of course, he's not as much of a outside shooter, but he's good at getting the rest of the offense involved over there. So, what have you noticed from his game in preparation for tomorrow, and what kind of challenges do you think that he presents in that backcourt matchup?
Well, he presents a number of problems. His athleticism, his ability to understand how to make plays not just for himself but for others. His quickness, his ability defensively to create plays and create havoc on the defensive end that allow them to be able to get out in transition. He's a fantastic player, but there's a number of fantastic players there. It's not about individuals for Baylor. They are great because they have a collection of great players. They're a terrific team. And so, and they're used to winning. They have a culture of winning. They're addicted to success, and that's why they're the defending national champions, and that's why they're a #1 seed. And so, as I said before, it'll be a challenge for us tomorrow, but we feel like that we have put ourselves in a position to step up to that challenge and to be able to compete and enjoy being in that stage and competing as well.
Coach, we've exhausted our time with you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you again tomorrow.
No more COVID year, okay? I apologize. Okay.